welcome to OSP EXPO. I'm Tina Senatra and I am in the OSP TV studio on the exhibit floor. Joining me is Paula Doublin. She is the Assistant Vice President, Antenna Solutions, Construction and Engineering with AT&T. Welcome, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tina, glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here as well. Thought we'd just jump right in. We've got some great questions for you. Do you feel that the challenges are still the same with regards to Dazz installation and meeting customer requirements?
So the Antenna Solution Group at AT&T is in fact, we've just celebrated our fourth anniversary, whatever you'd like to. Thank you, thank you. And so the question you're asking me, has it changed over those 4 years? And I need to answer that in two different ways. The first way that have the buildings changed? Have the stadiums changed? Has the airports changed? No, they have not.
Yeah.
So we still have the challenges of space, but there has been some things that have changed in a very good way. Is that there's more trust and confidence in building solutions these days, and whenever you start to see building owners and that sort of thing start to advertise that it says my building is wireless.
Right.
So so in that particular way, it really has changed. The quality is a lot better today than it was 4 years ago. The quality standards are there. So it has changed in a lot of good ways, and some of it has stayed the same.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, how have they changed over the last year, and what is AT&T doing specifically to meet any new challenges?
Okay. So what I have seen over the last 12 to 14 months or so has been some of the vendors that are here at the show. They came in and talked to us, several years ago, listened to what, kind of where our dreams and aspirations and what we needed from a specification and requirement perspective. It says, in our dreams, we wanted to do this, this, and this. Right. And over the last 12 to 14 months, we are beginning to see that start to happen.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
There is some stuff that's about to get approved for use. That is I won't call it a big game changer. I'll call it a little game changer.
Okay. Okay.
Because we haven't got the price set on it yet. That's what it's going to cost us. But it's definitely some really good stuff.
That's exciting. Yeah. There's so many technology. I think what is on the horizon is really going to be, like you said, a big game changer.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, with that, what new features implemented in Dazz facilitate the deployment of self-organizing network functionality in the SDN?
Okay, so self-optimizing, self-discovery, software-defined networks and that sort of thing. So what we have to remember about those, about SON and SDN and that sort of thing, we have to remember that none of those work unless you got great equipment.
Right.
Okay. You got fantastic backhaul.
Right.
Okay. And you've got good quality construction that's happening behind it. Those are the three enablers that allow all of that to happen. So I'm really excited about it simply for the fact that it allows us to take control remotely, where you don't have to, you can take care of a lot of stuff, from a center and that sort of thing, as opposed to having to
just the troubleshooting ability. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge.
So, and what we have, where we have gone with it, over the past couple of years is coming to fruition.
Okay.
I mean, I was talking to some of the guys in the lab the other day and kind of said, here's my wish list. And they were going like, no. Really?
Dream on.
And then they turned around and they said, that could work. We could do that.
And that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need that.
Allowing us to go cloud and go steel clouds.
Right.
And
whoever thought that we would be able to do that one day, and here we are.
Love it.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
What's on the horizon?
As I said, there's those three things. There's equipment, there's backhaul, and there's good construction. And if you don't have those, you're not going to have a good network.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That makes good sense.
Yep.
So how would you like to see the heterogeneous networks evolve, particularly integration of the Dazz system, Wi-Fi, Pico, and femtocells.
Okay.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, so I'm going to make it real easy on myself and call it a HetNet. And so a HetNet is, basically, and the HetNet folks will probably get really upset with me on this, but I'm going to do it anyway. The filter's off, guys, for those of you who know me. The HetNet is a combination of all the tools that we have in the toolbox that we can deploy out into the network.
Okay.
And they all work together. So what's the success factor or at least how I judge that success, is that customer experience is great, whether it's coming, you're coming from the macro onto the Dazz, onto the Pico, onto, the small cell,
right,
where, you're able to move around and the network doesn't care. It's just very smooth. It's
seamless.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I use that word a lot, but it is awesome. It is awesome.
It is.
So and that's kind of where I want it to be.
Right.
It needs to.
And it's just going to go up from there.
It's only get better from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
And since technology is ever changing, how do you prepare your employees? And what is your development in your training philosophy? That's a two-part question.
Okay. At AT&T, we do a really good job. Probably could do a better job, but we do a really good job of keeping our employees informed about where we are going as a business. So, what does 2015 look like? What does 16 look like? All the way out, to even past 2020. And where the business is going, the skill sets that are necessary. So there's a lot of information that's made available to employees. We have, training programs that are specific around the skill sets that we need going forward. I'm also a believer in self-development. Self-development begins with self for a reason. Now, for my own philosophy, for my team and for my organization, is that we provide a lot of opportunities, both from the technical perspective and from the soft skill perspective. Sometimes I find in technical organizations that the soft skills get left behind.
Right.
And I don't care how good of a technical person you are, if you can't communicate, you're not going to go very far.
Absolutely.
So, it's there.
Right.
It's there for the taking. I book out basically 80 hours per employee, every year. That is training for them.
Well, and we always talk about staying relevant. And, you're an OSP game changer this year, and you know that more than anyone, and that's why you are where you are today, because you know that, the importance of all of that. So, with the talent that you do have, how do you attract new talent? And there's a lot of talk about STEM and the need to place and retain more women in these areas. What are your thoughts on that?
So, retaining talent. Or gaining talent, retaining talent, whatever, building talent, whatever you want to call it. First of all, you got to have a really good idea of where you're going and what your requirements are and what the skill sets are. And you also have to make a decision as to how closely am I going to recruit to those? Am I going to recruit it 100%? Right. I promise you, if you're recruiting it to 100%, you're not going to find anybody. You're not. Right. Okay. And so how closely do you want to get to that point? As far as STEM and that sort of thing in bringing women into the business, into the technical side of the business. First of all, we've got to get some good role models out here.
Absolutely.
And it starts at a very young age.
Yep.
I mean, literally, I have a 4-year-old granddaughter that we. On all of her toys, they are half and half. So she gets half technical, quote unquote, boy type toys, and girl type toys.
Right.
And her activities are all structured around that, And so, it's how we act as parents and grandparents and supporters of the school and that sort of thing. I think there's some work that has to be done that makes you know, science and technology and engineering and mathematics fun.
Right.
And it is fun.
You know, I have a daughter. I have two daughters actually, and I in high school, and I am noticing the evolution. They are very strong in science and technology and math, and it's just been an evolutionary process, and it's really I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing in young women today. So, and I agree with you. I think a lot of it is, and there's more and more female role models like yourself, and a lot of the other, you know, women in telecom leaders that we're seeing today that are kind of making it a more acceptable choice for young women today. And I think that's really powerful.
Well, you know, I don't guess I knew anything different.
Right.
I grew up in the country in southern Missouri. And a little small town. I mean, just a dot on a map, you know. And there, we were expected, you know, if you got off and out in the country and the car broke down or whatever, you fixed it.
Yeah.
You know, either that or you walked. And who wants to walk? You know, not me for sure. But you know, my mom and dad made a really conscious effort to make sure that I was, you know, that I had the exposure to a whole heck of a lot of different things. And, you know,
that is important, and we need to do more of that, I think.
You know, my mother still says, you know, she says, I wish sometimes I would have said no.
Yeah.
You know? So,
well, sometimes
you created
no is good,
it, Mom.
Not really. Sometimes no is good, but not always.
That's
if you
true.
ask me, I'm not a big no person. But
neither's my mom and dad today.
Yeah. Well, with that, I just wanted to ask you, moving into 2015, just around the corner, do you have any predictions you'd like to share for the industry, or maybe AT&T, or?
I live in the Dazz world, the in-building solution world. I believe that we are going to do, based on what I'm seeing today, as much or more next year as what we're doing this year.
Okay.
Small cells are really going to take off and come alive in 15.
Right.
And my group will actually be doing the construction of small cell, which is a bit of a change from where we're going with it. And it's really taking it to a point where we're going to commoditize construction of small cell. Yeah. And really put it to the test. Put me to the test, I guess.
We'll be watching.
Yeah.
We'll be watching.
So
well, thank you. It was really this was a really nice interview. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I appreciate your time today.
Got to come see us down Farmers Branch.
Oh, you bet we will. We'll be back.
Come see our beautiful labs.
I would love to.
All right.
It was great meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Paula Doublin with AT&T. Until next time, thanks so much.